Have you ever lost something so painful that it felt like your whole life collapsed? Have you ever watched everything you depended on disappear, and all you had left was faith, tears, and a quiet hope that God had not forgotten you? There was a woman whose life was covered with sorrow. She had lost almost everything that once made her feel secure. Her home no longer felt like a place of peace. Her future no longer looked clear. The people who once knew her joy could now see the weight she carried in her eyes. She was tired, not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. She was tired in her soul. She had cried until her tears became silent. She had prayed until words became heavy. She had wondered if God still saw her, if heaven still heard her, if her story still mattered. Sometimes life can strip a person so deeply that even standing up in the morning becomes an act of faith. But God had not forgotten her. People may have looked at her situation and thought it was over. They may have judged her by what she lost. They may have whispered about her pain. They may have assumed that her season of blessing had passed. But God does not measure a life by one painful chapter. The Bible shows us again and again that God remembers the forgotten. He visits the broken. He lifts the rejected. He restores what pain tried to bury. According to Ruth chapter 1, Naomi returned to Bethlehem empty. She had lost her husband. She had lost her sons. She had lost the life she once knew. Her grief was so deep that she told the people not to call her Naomi anymore, but Mara, because her life had become bitter. That is how deep pain can speak. Pain can rename you. Pain can make you forget who you were before the loss. Pain can make you believe that your identity is now your disappointment. But God was not finished with Naomi. Even when she returned empty, God was already preparing fullness. Even when she could not see tomorrow, God was already arranging Ruth. Even when she thought her story had ended in bitterness, God was writing restoration behind the scenes. Sometimes God's help does not arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes through one loyal person, one small opportunity, one unexpected door, one quiet field, one divine connection. Ruth followed Naomi. Boaz noticed Ruth. And through that connection, God restored Naomi's hope. The woman who came back empty was not left empty. The woman who thought her name was bitterness became part of a story of redemption. Through Ruth and Boaz, Naomi became connected to the lineage through which King David would come, and eventually the family line connected to Jesus Christ. That is what God can do. He can take a woman who feels forgotten and place her inside a story bigger than her pain. So when you feel like you have lost everything, remember this: loss is not always the end. Sometimes it is the place where God begins a deeper work. God can remember you after betrayal. God can remember you after grief. God can remember you after shame. God can remember you after financial loss. God can remember you after people walked away. God can remember you after years of waiting. You may feel empty, but heaven has not closed your file. Your tears are not invisible to God. Your prayers are not wasted. Your brokenness is not the final sentence over your life. Naomi returned empty, but God restored her through a path she never expected. And the same God who remembered Naomi can remember you. Your story is not over. The chapter may be painful, but the author is still writing. Prayer. Father, remember me in the places where I feel forgotten. Where I have lost joy, restore me. Where I have lost hope, strengthen me. Where I have lost direction, guide me. Where I have carried bitterness, heal me. Lord, do not let my pain become my identity. Do not let my loss become the end of my story. Visit me with mercy. Surround me with the right people. Open the door that will bring restoration. Let what broke me become the place where you reveal your power. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, amen.